Hi guys, Grant from Grant Games and Models here. So today, since today finally we reached 10 subs, this is actually a bit late, but that's just due to my upload schedule. So for our 10 sub special, we'll be reading the Lore of Krieg, which I wrote in my spare time. I'm open to criticism for it. So, but here's the first part of it, or we're gonna see how many volumes of it I can read in 10 minutes. And so we've already taken up about 40 seconds here. So I'm just gonna stop with all the funny business. Oh, and also as a side note, you guys aren't just a number. You guys are actual people, and so I appreciate you guys subscribing. But anyway, let's get on with the video. So, Lore of Krieg Volume 1, Origins. The city of Krieg started as a small Viking camp around 800 AD or the 11th century. However, Krieg was originally Ariwald when it was first founded, so we shall refer to it as Ariwald until the name was changed. The city of Ariwald was ruled by a man under the name of Julius Ariwald. Julius was a well-known Viking across the Europa Islands, and some reports even claim that he was known in China, Japan, Germany, France, Africa, and even Korea at the time. The thing with Ariwald, however, is he committed multiple war crimes by today's standards and was a horrible dictator who tortured those who opposed him. Many speculate that he murdered his own son for getting in the way to protect his mother from being beaten after she didn't make Julius what he wanted, which was for a meal. Julius came up with the worst possible punishments known in human history, one of which was death by tide, which was a torture method where you tied someone upside down to a dock or a pier, and you did this at low tide and waited for high tide. When high tide came, the water would cover their head and drown them. Thankfully, this was banned right after Julius was decapitated by Wilhelm Krieg. Julius Ariwald reigned Ariwald for 52 years with an iron fist, and he would frequently murder and pillage neighboring villages because he was too barbaric to get into agriculture to sustain his own city. 32 years into Julius' reign, the city began to show signs of neglect and famine. Ariwald's economy was plummeting, and Julius was becoming worse of a person each day. At the end of the 11th century, Julius's reign ended when Wilhelm Krieg gathered support from the townsfolk and stormed Julius's fortress. This event created the first soldiers of the Death Corps. When Wilhelm Krieg decapitated Julius, the city of Krieg began and a new age would begin. Alright, Lore of Krieg Volume 2, New Beginnings. A new age had begun, and with it came new problems and situations. In the beginning of the 12th century, Wilhelm Krieg had to fix the economic situation as well as the damage that Julius had done. Wilhelm's actions would determine the fate of Ariwald's future. His first action would be to attempt to begin trading with local camps, towns, villages, and in order to help restore Ariwald's economy, as well as try to create some allies to rely upon in case they were ever needed help. The first attempt to trade with a local city named Ankh-Pakistan, which was 900 miles away, didn't go so well when halfway to Ankh-Pakistan, a native tribe named the Karenbuk attacked the unprotected caravan and slaughtered all of the traders. This made Wilhelm realize that Ariwald needed a way to defend itself from potential enemies. Wilhelm gave a decree that still stands in modern Krieg that required all citizens, excluding those with major disabilities or conditions, must have some form of military experience by the age of 15. This meant that the citizens didn't have to join the military, but they needed to take an ROTC class in order to pass school unless you had a serious physical disability or mental disability. This created a foundation for the world's best, toughest, and smartest infantry, the Death Corps of Krieg. The next few years for Ariwald were the supremely hardest and most grinding years the city had ever seen. A battle of attrition. The people began to like the new government and the way it was handling everything, the city, but there was one problem. Ariwald was stuck in between two much larger and more powerful cities that had tensions rising between them. The upcoming years would be the bloodiest, most brutal, and exhausting conflict the world would ever see. Lore of Krieg, Volume 3. The Blood Crusades. The city of Ariwald was now prepared for a war, and Wilhelm knew this. 5 months after the formation of the Death Corps, Ariwald was invaded and pillaged. Krieg's population at the time was about 3,000. After that first attack, the population was 1,000. Wilhelm ordered the remaining 300 Death Corps infantry to prepare the civilians for evacuation if needed. So, we're going to stop at that part for right now. And we're going to, let's see. Well, we'll finish volume 3, and then we'll continue it in another video. Let's see, we were at, this attack would be one of the many to ravage Ariwald for the next few decades. 2 months later, Ariwald was attacked again by the Crusaders of Khorne, which is spelled Khorne, which would evolve into the city of Helheim. When the Crusaders of Khorne first attacked the city, Ariwald was caught off guard and 300 civilians were brutally massacred. The Death Corps came up with a plan to defend the city because they received word that in 2 hours the Crusaders of Khorne would attack again. When the Crusaders entered the city, they noticed the city didn't defend and that it seemed abandoned. The Crusaders moved into the town square, oblivious to the fact that death was about to come from below. 100 Death Corps infantry rose above the corpses of the fallen and caught the 1,000 Crusaders off guard. What happened next was a conflict that the world will remember. Death Corps soldiers grabbed Crusaders and yanked them into the darkness, killing them by knife or with their bare hands. When morning came, only one Crusader survived and was found wandering the desert. Some reports say that he was suffering from severe PTSD. This conflict showed that the Death Corps were a resilient and terrifying force. 2 months later, Ariwald's name changed to Krieg. Wilhelm Krieg had grown old and had to pass the title of Emperor to his son Rogel Krieg. The Crusades lasted for 10 years, with each time Krieg fending off enemy forces with unmatched ferocity and courage. Okay, now we're going to stop there. So, there are a few things I want to go over discussing my city. So I noticed that some people will keep asking me about doing a tutorial on the, let's see, what was it? Was it the I think it was an aircraft carrier. That or it was a cruiser. The thing with doing that is, so I can only record about 10-minute segments since I've got an Xbox. I can only do 10-minute screen recordings, and so doing that kind of video would take a lot of time and effort. Not that I don't want to do it, it's just it would take quite a while to do that. And I really don't think it would be practical to make a 100-part 10-minute video series where I'm just trying to build an aircraft carrier. Because mind you, that build did take a while, especially with the amount of detail I put into it, and especially if it was the KS Titan. That's just, I'll probably do the Dragon class patrol vessels, but for right now I'd say we stick to the smaller vessels, and then I'll see if I can get a better setup for screen recordings. Then yeah, I'll make that video definitely. But as of right now, it's gonna be very, 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 very difficult and I don't have that much time on my hands either. So yeah, that's probably why. Maybe later down the line when we hit maybe later down the line I'll make that kind of video. But yeah, guys, so I'll finish this series up on hopefully Saturday and Sunday, and thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.